Hello, welcome to another episode of the GodisaGeek Podcast. My name is Chris White, and joining me this week is Mr. Daniel Murphy. How are you, sir?
Hello, Chris. I'm all right. It's been a long.
It has been a while, mate.
Since I last graced this
how's
podcast
it
with my wonderful present.
How's it all going, man?
It's all right. It's been hectic. The tail end of uni, the business end of the educational year. Been eyes deep in coursework. Had to make a TV feature. Had to make a multimedia feature. Had to write a background feature on a court case. Had to sort out my Newsday portfolio. Had to do a news day. It's been so busy, but thankfully, a couple of weeks back now, the deadline for the portfolio and everything was the 22nd, so last Monday.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of other deadlines in and around the 25th and the 18th. I also had to write an essay, a critical reflection. Forgot that. That's how much I've been doing.
Yeah.
So it's been very, very busy. Still 2 exams to go, but uni's finished. It's just me and my bill revising now. 2 exams this Friday, the Friday afterwards, and then I'm done for the summer until late September.
That's ace, man. At least you've got a bit of time to just kind of chill out for once.
Oh, it's needed. Because I've played very little, Chris. I've literally the only game I've been playing for the past 4 weeks or so is Pro Evolution Soccer 2017, and literally the tiniest sprinkling of Persona 5 in there, and the tiniest sprinkling of Breath of the Wild. Literally half an hour, just sporadically. It's been slow going playing games from what.
Summer to catch up on everything, mate.
Oh, but it's too much, man. I've missed so many cool indie games that look that, and having literally no fucking money is a big problem. No time, no money, which means no games, which means no writing or talking, and it's been very, very sad in the last few weeks or so. Cause
it's alright, mate. We'll get you up to speed. We'll get you up to speed, mate. Don't you worry about that. One thing which we will mention before we kind of get cracking on the games is one of your games, one of the big games you're looking forward to play, and isn't actually coming out now. It is terrible. Well, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. It's disappointing, but it's understandable. But it also means everything else gets time to breathe a bit. So
definitely,
we can play next year.
Small bit of me does think they pushed it because they know Zelda's. They know nothing's topping Zelda in open world terms.
No, you're right.
Small part of me thinks. 5 months. We get to polish it up a lot more. Maybe we get to take some ideas that Zelda had and make Red Dead Redemption 2 even better.
Yeah.
And I can wait. I'm sure there's a lot. I think the Shadow of Mordor 2, whatever it's called, end of the year.
That looks exciting.
That looks brilliant. They changed the make on that. There's plenty of stuff to be, keeping entertained with as the year rolls by. There's still stuff as I've said, so much stuff that's already out that I still desperately want to play.
Yeah, I mean, we'll never really know the rhyme or reason for them changing their mind, but I certainly know a lot about RiME, which came out recently, and I have to say, it's probably in my top 5 of the year so far. Quite easily sitting up there.
I'm hearing mixed things.
I have. I mean, the reason I love it is I was massively disappointed by The Last Guardian.
Okay.
And it did a lot of things wrong. The controls were horrendous. I don't care what people say. I'm not saying they're wrong, but I can't see how some people so blind to the fact it felt so broken in so many ways, and it was just a massive disappointment. And this partly is everything that should have been. It gets the control system right. It gets just the puzzles right. There's no massive difficulty in any of the puzzles, but they are challenging, but they don't push you too much to the point where it just feels like a hot mess, really. Mm-hmm. So it's gorgeous. It's one of the nicest looking games I've seen. It's very much similar to Breath of the Wild, where the hand painted style makes it just gives it that just that real edge with everything else that's come out. Mm-hmm. The ideas in it. The way that all these worlds link together, there's different kind of there's a beach, there's the sun shining down, there's forests, there's kind of deserts. It's not a scary game by any means, but there's kind of a weird eeriness to it, which I won't want to go into, but it starts to become more apparent as you kind of move on. But the story really kind of it really kind of hits you because it kind of deals with grief and loss.
Okay.
And I literally finished it the day after Manchester, and it couldn't really have come at a better time because I think it does a lot to kind of, I know video games are just games and all that, but they do kind of help people out, and I just think there's a real kind of, it deals with it in such a way that it just I think it will help, and I just think it's come at a really good time, and I think people should just get on it because not only is it gorgeous and it plays really well, but it's just a really beautiful game, and I'm not too sure where the criticisms lie, if you get me.
Well, I obviously can't offer any kind of insight. I feel like people are saying the puzzles are a little bit hit and miss from what I've heard and what I've read. I don't know, it looks very kind of whimsical and colourful. I like it, and it seems like this, this really colourful, kind of playful aesthetic kind of contrast to the kind of deep meanings it's saying, which it sounds cool. I mean, I remember this getting revealed like 2013 E3 when the PlayStation was announced, I think, maybe even earlier.
Yeah.
And it looked great then. It's something I've been pretty much looking forward to. I think from how it looks and from how long it is, I think the price point is a little steep from like £30 is on the PlayStation Store. I think as that type of game, it might be what you might think is worth it, and it might well be worth it, but the perception that these type of games have, I just don't think, I haven't got the figures to back me up, so slap me if I'm wrong, but I imagine they don't sell as well because it's just the perception people have. I don't,
because it's about, I'm sure it's like a 6 to 8 hour game. Mm-hmm. So if it's the length that people have got a problem with, I'm not too sure where that problem lies. I know it feels very much like Journey in a way. Okay. It got to a point where I was playing it, I was like, this is starting to feel like Journey. It's starting to be, this character who doesn't talk at all, really. They communicate through sounds, much like in Journey, but the way this lad portrays emotion, it's you basically press triangle to evoke a noise from him, and it's different. It's different for wherever you are or whatever you're doing. So there's certain puzzles that you come across. There's like these little orbs that you have to press triangle and you'll shout at them and they'll react and help you open up a door or something like that. And then when you're not near a puzzle and say something quite sad's just happened, you press triangle and he whimpers and he cries a little bit. You press it again, it continues that chain of like sadness. Or there's points where you're just walking around and you press triangle and he'll sing these 2 notes of a song. You press the triangle again, he'll sing the next 2 notes, and it's a really smart. I think it's just a really clever game.
How is the story actually told? If you get me? Is it just this one geezer walking about?
So the kind of main premise is this boy. You've woken up on the shore. You don't know where you are, who you are, and as you progress, you're led to different places by this cute little fox, and he kind of tethers you between the 2 areas and gets you to the next step. Then you're introduced to this mysterious figure in a red kind of cloak or scarf, and that is where I'll leave it. You'll find out more about what that is or who that is or whatever, but it's really well paced. And there's never a bit where there's so many puzzles it kind of becomes a bit tiresome. When there's those games where there's just puzzle after puzzle and you want a bit of a breathing room. Mm-hmm. I think RiME really manages that. It'll give you puzzles, but then it gives you a lot of time where you just explore this world, and there's a fair bit of exploration. It's not an open world by any means, but there's a lot of collectibles out there that kind of give you a bit more insight into where you are and what this world is and stuff. So I just think it's just a really smart game, and I'm not too sure. Obviously, every game isn't perfect, and no one's going to 100% agree that this is going to be the best. But I don't know. I think I'm just really protective because I really enjoyed it. But it's certainly worth giving it a go for the kind of just the look of it alone.
Interesting. That certainly looks interesting. I think it's certainly one that people will probably pick up when it goes down in price in a sale of some sorts. Yeah. So I think £30. It is a little bit on the steep side, if I do say so myself. But I am coming from the point of view of someone who literally only has £30 in the bank account.
Oh no, do you know what? I completely agree. I think before I reviewed it, it wasn't really on my radar. I know Patrick Dane previewed it for us, and it did sound good. But again, I've kind of kept away from it. And then that event I did in London, the ID Xbox event where I tried out Tacoma, RiME was there, but because of the preview, I thought I'd spend time playing on other stuff, so I didn't get to see it there. And I'm kind of wishing I had, because I would have kind of known what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's certainly worth a go, mate. Hopefully you'll get to try it out.
What else have you been playing, Chris?
Well, talking about kind of nice looking games, I want to talk about Tokyo 42.
No, this one, right? I saw this at EGX, and it was only on. It was like in the indie bit, and it was only on computer at the time. There was no controllers for it, and I couldn't. It looked sick. I really like the idea of it. This like kind of Tokyo, funnily enough, this kind of isometric, colourful, modern Tokyo where you're this assassin, I think, of some sorts, and it was really cool. The intro's so kind of frantic and immediately puts you into the action, and you got to run away from some goons chasing you. But I just couldn't control it because it was a mouse and keyboard. But I'm really looking. I can't wait for this to hit the PS4 because I want to try it myself. Yeah,
I mean the control system, that's where my main problem lies. But I'll talk about that in a bit. I think visually it's one of the nicest looking kind of games, like indie games we've seen recently, where as you say, the isometric view and the fact you can press the trigger buttons on the top, the shoulder buttons, and it turns the map round kind of like 90 degrees. So you can see this world from any kind of angle, kind of like Fez, where in Fez you could turn the map round. It does that, and it helps when you've got kind of like a target to try and hit, you can, scope out buildings, you can find a good vantage point, because you are an assassin, and you do kind of have multiple ways to hit, to make your hits. So with some of the targets, you can find like high vantage points for your sniper rifle, or you can sneak in and infiltrate a hideout and use your katana, which you get. And stuff like that. There are certain targets where there aren't any other way other than to just kind of infiltrate. But even still, there's still a lot of fun in finding the right way to do it. There's a lot of kind of early on. There's like a big complex where you have to get to the very top floor, and you can do so by either climbing the staircases and then taking out the guards on each level, and then there's like an elevator which takes you straight to the top floor. But there's all guards surrounding it, so they kind of turn around and kill you. Okay. Or there's like another bit where you can jump on these lifts, which are coming up from outside, like moving up and down on the edge of the building, where you can jump onto the elevators and then, sneak out and try and find another way to make the hit. So there are some different kind of ways to do it. But I mean, the main issues is like using the control system. So when you're using a pistol or a shotgun pistol or rifle or whatever you're using, you've got your right trigger which will aim, your right analog stick, which will aim at your enemy, and you just press the trigger to fire. But it's kind of like Hotline Miami, where you did very similar to fire, but because there's different levels, there's staircases, there's different tiered buildings, it can be tricky to kind of kill your enemy. So when you're about 10 or 15 descend on you, it's very hard to kind of get a hit in edgeways, and the accuracy, it's not, I don't know, I don't want an auto lock on or anything like that. I just want it to be a bit more user friendly. I mean, other people might find it differently, each to their own, but for me, I struggle with it. And I think it gets to a point, I think it's about mission 13 or 14, where it suddenly ramps up the difficulty quite a bit, and to that point it was not easy, but you kind of breeze through it, and then it gets to this mission where you have to take out a lot of these punk guys, and that's when it kind of it gets a bit harder, and then it starts to pick up a lot, and it's not Dark Souls difficult, but with the aiming and the kind of using your gun, that's when it becomes a bit of a problem. But on the whole, it is stunning, and it's a gorgeous soundtrack. The reason I love it, one of the main reasons, is because it reminds me a lot of Blade Runner, the kind of aesthetic and the neo-futuristic world that you get to go around in, and and stuff like that. And there's even a coat, because you can change your coat for like just to look differently, to blend in and that kind of thing. And there's a brown coat, and it's called the Deckard, which is obviously the character from Blade Runner's name. So it's obviously influenced by Blade Runner, but I mean visually it's very much, you know, Monument Valley, a game that came out last year called it's that kind of bold colours that really make kind of lift it up, and a game called Blockwood, which came out last year, looks very much like that. The buildings do, but
so it's a bit like you have to kind of go into like a crowded area and find your target and like get the right one. What if you like killed the wrong one?
So there's the kind of main missions. They are the targets you have to kill. You know you have to kill them because there's like an icon that appears above the head. So it's like, go and kill this crime boss in this building, and there'll be like an icon, so you know where you need to go. It's just getting there. There are other kind of little bits where there's this thing that pops up every now and again through the main story where this is one other assassin trying to kill you, and it'll say, oh, they've been alerted, or they're coming for you, and you don't know where they are, and there's no icon that pops up. So say you are walking through a crowded area and there's a lot of people, any one of them could be the person trying to kill you. And I kept getting kills until this one point where it came up and popped up, said he was going to chase me. I found this kind of vantage point and kind of hid away for a bit, and this guy was running up the steps towards me, and I didn't know if he was the killer, but it was very weird behaviour because there's not a lot of running by anyone, any of the kind of little NPCs. So I took him down, and he was the guy who tried to kill me. So that's quite cool. That's like another kind of element to it. One thing which I didn't get to try because there weren't really anyone available was the multiplayer. There is a cool multiplayer element to it where you will find you and, from what I understand, you and a player around the world will both generate onto this map, and you will have to kill each other. And there are no icons or anything like that. And I believe you have to kind of learn who they are by maybe the way they act or stuff like that. And you build up your arsenal, and you got to try and take each other out.
Kind of reminds me of like Assassin's Creed or Watch Dogs multiplayer.
Yeah, it is. It sounds very much like that. And I kind of hope it is as cool. And I will be going back to play it when the kind of servers go live. Or, well, not servers, but people are just playing it, because it's not a bad game at all. In fact, it's a really, really great little game, especially for an indie game. There's a lot going on. It's very, very stylish, and it's just a great world to kind of explore. And it's just like, if you love kind of Japanese culture as well, it's just great to just look at and just be a part of in that world.
It's definitely one I've had my eye on for a while, and I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it when it finally comes to PlayStation 4 in early July, I think it is.
Yeah, man, do it. So we don't really talk about this on the pod because they're always coming out, and I just feel like I want to talk about the finale of The Walking Dead season.
No, I've not even seen it, Chris. I didn't even watch it.
Oh, not the TV program.
Oh, the actual TV
Telltale.
show. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, the actual game. Oh, yeah. How long has that fucking taken to complete?
Yeah, I know. I just think, because obviously I can't talk spoilers because that's the kind of the main thing about Telltale. Yeah. But I think, like, it kind of hit me when I was playing the Guardians, and we talked about Guardians on the pod, how Telltale need to venture out because they can quite clearly tell great stories, and this story for The Walking Dead season 3 it is brilliant, and you really do start to warm to these characters. In the beginning you were like, oh, they're not Lee or they're not Kenny, they're not the characters we know and love. Clementine's completely different in it, because she is like a war veteran. We've seen her grow up from this little innocent kid who's seen the stuff she's seen, and now she's ruthless, and that's weird. And these kind of characters, Javi and David, these brothers, it's really interesting to see their relationship grow throughout this series, because we've never really had that sibling rivalry before, and they do a great job of telling this story. And if it wasn't for the Walking Dead franchise, featuring in the Walking Dead franchise, I don't really know what else Telltale can do that can kind of make people care. Like, because for me, Batman was pretty. It wasn't poor. It was just I love Batman, and it just did nothing for me.
Did that ever finish?
I think the story. Yeah, but I never finished it. I got to episode 3 and never finished it, and Guardians has just come out, and that's fine, But I'm not.
Fucking hell, they churn out so much.
I know,
but I refuse to have this conversation again where we say, oh, they need to take a break, fix their engine. I'm not having it anymore.
No, because they had a chance to fix the engine. Because I believe when the Walking Dead Michonne, the 3 episodes came out for that was the first. I believe that was the first Telltale game on the new engine. But you've still got the eyes. I just don't know that they ruined some really kind of impactful scenes, and when it's kind of being sensitive. I mean, it's not too bad in this one, but in Guardians, their eyes are all over the place, like Thunderbirds characters, the dolls from Thunderbirds. They're just very kind of. They don't tell me anything, and it's weird, and I don't understand still how that can be happening, and even the facial animations as well are the same. I just don't know what's going on. Yeah. So, I just kind of hope they sort it out for anything they kind of do in the future. But if this is what they're going to do forever, I just hope they try something else, and there's something else in their arsenal that they've got planned. That a nice E3 reveal or something would be great. I don't know.
At least Walking Dead was good, eh?
You what, sorry?
At least Walking Dead was good, eh?
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here, to be honest. But yeah, going back to kind of the Walking Dead season 3, it has been interesting. You do care about the characters, even though you might not think you'd care as much after spoilers what happened to Lee in the first season and so on. But there are some really interesting characters in here, and they're not annoying, because sometimes they can be quite annoying, and they all kind of work really well because it's very much a family orientated series. This one, season 3, and they kind of nail it. So I think if you like the first 2 seasons, it's worth giving it a go. It's nowhere near the kind of excellence of those 2. But it's still definitely worth giving it a shot. And especially now the whole series is out, you can kind of get stuck in. So, Pez, mate, what you been dabbling with on Pez? Just dicking about.
Just playing with flatmates, and I tell you, the more I play, I still love it, and I always will. But the more I play, and I must have put at least 60 odd hours into it now, if not more. And I've probably seen more from just watching matches of other people playing.
Yeah.
The cracks come wider and wider the more you kind of play. Yesterday, or Saturday, whatever it was, I literally scored a goal that didn't go in. It hit the side netting and then counted as a goal.
Really?
Genuinely. My mate's got the video of it. I swear to God, it was like a cross in. The guy kind of slid and shot from pretty much the goal line. It hit the side netting, kind of went into the goal with the side netting around it because it was hit that hard, and then it got counted as a goal, and the ball just rolled back out to the side of behind the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty. There's been a lot of cracks like that. The keepers are nowhere near as good as I. See, when I reviewed it, I kind of reviewed it all on single player. I was playing on the hardest difficulty. I think that's how you should play it.
Yeah,
I think that's when it's really good. But playing as other people, the cracks have shown quite a lot.
Yeah, but it's hard to do that, at pre-release, because not everyone can play it. So you're trying to get as much in as possible, and it always, that's the kind of testament of a great game, is the longevity of it. And if there are some cracks, then there's always room for improvement. And obviously PES 18 is coming up. Obviously we knew it was coming out, but that's been announced now, and it'll be interesting to see, after playing so much of 17, we can kind of look at this and go, right, well, you need to improve it here. Are these going to be improved?
Yeah, well,
hopefully they are.
I can see the aspect. The keepers aren't really not that good. The kind of will make amazing saves 1 minute, then they'll parry stuff or won't catch things when they should do and stuff like this. The referees are quite bad. They'll let scything fucking leg breaking tackles go without a foul, and then will book you for something inconsequential. The player movement off the ball is quite bad as well. There's not a lot of making runs and that sort of stuff. So I gave it a 10 out of 10 in review, and after playing it for so long, I'd probably change that a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's still a great game. I still enjoy it for a little. If despite everyone, all my flatmates saying they hate it or whatever, most of them still play it a lot, regardless.
Yeah.
So there must be something to it, and I'm hoping that a lot of these kind of cracks who people who played it for a lot of time have let Konami know, and hopefully they'll get fixed. And 2018 will be even better.
Do you reckon we're going to see any VR implementation this year, or do you think that's a bit off?
No, I don't see how it'd work for
at the moment. Yeah, I think
I don't see, and I don't see how it'd be cost effective to do it, because I imagine not many people have VR and that sort of stuff. I can't. Maybe I can't see. I don't see where it'd work, how it'd work, and what the point of it would be, really, to be honest with you.
I mean, we talked a little bit about it on the last pod about VR, because Adam reviewed Farpoint, and we were just kind of talking about what's left, what can they possibly do, because there's so much hype about PSVR, and not just PSVR but Oculus Rift as well, and the HTC Vive, but there's nothing really on the horizon at all. So unless E3 kills it with VR announcements, I don't really see what's going to happen or what the future
prediction,
is.
I bet we don't hear a single thing about VR in any press conference.
I can't see where it would be.
And the PC one doesn't count because it's not a press conference.
No, I think the Bethesda got a press conference this year. They have, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they do.
The only thing I think of is the Fallout 4 thing that they were talking about. Okay. But even then,
revise, nothing new will be announced.
I completely agree, mate. I don't think they've got it in them, and it's a shame, because I've not played any VR on any of the three main systems, but I really fancy it. But it is so expensive. So do you reckon we might even see a price drop?
I feel like there's something they do subtly, just not tell us, and just hopefully they'll sell out all the stock that they've probably not sold. I don't know. I just heard absolutely since the release. I don't even know when they were released, earlier this year maybe. Heard absolutely fuck all about them. Well, earlier last year, I should say. It was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Heard absolutely nothing about them. Been no games that have been worth buying them, and hopefully developers have got enough investment in them to kind of develop things that are kind of good enough to propel it. And hopefully it's not all a massive waste of money, but it's what it looks like. But Chris, speaking of announcements, Far Cry 5.
Oh yes.
It looks cracking. I reckon the gameplay will just be the same old shit as always, and I kind of got really bored of Far Cry 4 quite quickly. But this setting is, for some reason, I'm really kind of. I think I talked about it before in the podcast, actually, when we were talking about. It's probably my last podcast when we were talking about the Stephen King stuff. I really have like a fucking affection, some reason for like small town America. You can't get much small towns than hillbilly fucking Montana, can you? I think. The kind of the cult story and the atmosphere and the kind of the characters I've seen on the trailers as well, it's really enticing. I really like the fucking look of it. How on earth you're going to be able to have highly powered rifles, machine guns and rocket launchers in America without the fucking nation of fucking police and spies coming down upon you like fucking hell fury? I never know. I don't. Like, it kind of makes sense if you're in Wonton, Nepal or whatever, or some deserted island, but in the middle of America, you're not going to get battered for fucking shooting up places.
I think this is why it's so interesting.
Like
because, Far Cry, I mean, for me, like I played Far Cry 2, but it really kicked off for me with Far Cry 3. Like, that was just phenomenal. And the way they got this frat boy with his mates, stranded on this island, and it just... You were a survivor, and you felt very much like terrified of everything. But
I feel like Far Cry 3 was brilliant, like a brilliant idea. It just needed a bit more kind of character development with Jason Brody. I think obviously it didn't want to do that because it just wanted you to have fun from the offset. I think if it was a little bit more serious, and serious is maybe the wrong word because it is a game, but if it was a little more kind of slow with its story, let you build a bit more, let you only have the bow and arrow for ages, you pick up guns or pick up like. Your character was too scared of guns. Well, you're Americans, probably not. But you know what I mean. There was a bit more of a slow burn until he came from pissing his pants frat boy to fucking worn torn Rambo.
And
But it was
Vars was just one of the best villains.
Oh, definitely.
In video games,
Absolutely.
you know, they can certainly write a good video game.
Mm-hmm.
Far Cry 4. I mean, I got Far Cry 4 after
Dull.
playing Far Cry 3, and yeah, it was so average. I never bothered to finish it, and it was dull. And
it had really nice bits. Obviously, Pagan Min was really good. The bit when you can finish the game at the start, really nice touch. The different types of endings you can have, all really good. But the kind of meat and potatoes, the whole game, very, very quite dull. There was nothing like iconic about it, like the Far Cry 3 setting fire to the weed fields mission with the Damien Malley in the background.
Yeah.
There was nothing like that. But I don't know, Far Cry 5 could really hit the spot. I feel like you can get, have weird kind of missions with kind of Johnny Cash style acoustics in the background and all that sort of stuff.
Love that.
I think hopefully, I don't know if they've announced who your character is, but it'd be the way to write away how they're actually doing it in America is if you're like an undercover cop going into it.
Yeah.
Kind of like Wicker Man type style. And that could lead to interesting things with a cult.
I love the character to be black. I think that'd be a really...
I think you can customise it. I tell you what, one of the best things I saw.
Yeah, you can.
One of the best suggestions I saw was a comment on an article saying you can select your character, and someone said, and I thought it was fucking excellent, the difficulty slider should be your age, your gender and race. So if the game's harder if you select yourself to be black. And I think that is clever. Cool. That'd be really good fucking kind of social commentary that's kind of connected to the game itself. I think that'd be quality. I don't know if they'd have the balls to do it, but that is fucking really clever.
I reckon that could make that game. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I think Ubisoft are a fucking quality publisher. It's just they've had a bit of bad luck recently. You know, I mean, For Honor didn't really do it.
It's a shame because For Honor was really good.
Terrible.
It just didn't. It just didn't get enough players. It seems. I don't know how the state of. I don't know if For Honor's died on its arse or not. I don't know what the state of its current playing kind of numbers are. But it's a weird one. That's probably why Assassin's Creed's roaring back this year. Needs to fucking.
But you know what? That's another thing I'm excited for. I love Assassin's Creed. I think obviously Black Flag for the
best
win.
One ever.
Yeah, but the series like the London Syndicate was. Did you ever play Syndicate?
I did. Syndicate had a potential.
See, I loved Syndicate. I think the worst one was 3.
I don't know. I liked 3, and it is again because I'm kind of fascinated by America and Native American culture and kind of all that sort of history. I thought it had one of the best endings when I can't remember who he did, but Connor and they kind of went into a tavern and they were both just fucked up. I think 3. I played it when I was younger, so I don't remember the kind of the tutorial bit at the beginning and all that sort of shit. But I really liked it. I really liked the kind of the tree bits where you could kind of free run all over the trees and stuff and get red coats from above. I really liked doing the Boston Tea Party, like all the historical. I thought it was one of the most historical recreations that Creed's ever done until Pirates. I don't know. I really liked it. I don't know, and I also like it because Connor is one of the male assassins they've ever done who isn't just a cheeky, wisecracking sex addict. All the others, I like them. Don't get me wrong. I love fucking Ezio and Edward, but they're all pretty much the same person. And Connor was the only one who was different. He was moody. His fucking family got murdered. His whole race was getting fucking extinguished. What do you want him to be? And I think Assassin's Creed 3 does get a bit of a bad rap. To be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. But the setting, I mean, I'm pretty much sure we're going to get a trailer before E3. I think that's where they would go.
Would
be a
Egypt?
Smart. Yeah, I mean, there's a. Have you seen the leak of the T-shirt with the picture of
GiaG, which is
GiaG.
a shit name.
It's a shit name.
It sounds like GiaG. Sounds like some Lancashire guy who's just been startled by a fucking cow sticking at his head over a bush.
But he looks pretty cool. I think Egypt would be the way to go. I was kind of hoping for this to be part of either like a trilogy or something, which ends the kind of franchise and incorporates not religion, but just like Jesus and God into the whole thing. I think that'd be quite an interesting way to go.
We all know it'll never end, Chris. Never, ever.
No, I know. I just don't want it to get too stale because it's kind of got to a point. No,
thing is, no, I don't. I'm saying that with joking because I still like the Assassin's Creed games. They sent me they're like kind of bread. You know, bread
Yeah.
isn't exactly. You obviously don't want bread to be stale, obviously, but like bread's not exciting. It's never your favourite food, but
that's
it's
a
comforting.
fair
It's
analogy.
nice. It goes with so much stuff. It's just a nice kind of filler. And Creed, I don't know, Creed like, always comes out kind of Christmas time. It's always a nice Christmas game. Just chill, explore a great world, do repetitive stuff. I haven't finished one since Black Flag, which had the best story of any Assassin's Creed game by a
mile.
Had me literally in tears at the ending when Anne Bonny. Or was it Mary Reid? No, it was Anne Bonny singing, and it got me so upset. Well, that's it. I think the best thing about the Creed games is that it always gets me so interested in this time. Like, going researched all the pirates, and Anne Bonny, and Mary Reid, and Charles Vane, and Jack Rackham, all them geezers. Teach as well, of course, and then, you know, the Native American one, the American Revolution. Was it the Revolution? Yeah, all that sort of stuff. And the Egypt one's interesting. My worry is that it's going back to kind of the first game, which was in Jerusalem, I think, and all that stuff. And the buildings weren't exactly the best for what it wanted to be. And I can't imagine Ancient Egypt being that much better.
You climb up a pyramid, it takes you like 10 minutes, 10, 20 minutes.
There's no way you can do an eagle jump off a pyramid because it slants down.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will, though. I'm sure we will.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see the trailer. I'm sure we'll get it soon. And then they'll go into more detail at E3 because I'm guessing it's November, isn't it? Like, so that'll be out this Christmas.
I reckon they're going to do a pirate game as well. I reckon it's finally going to be the one. I've been waiting for it to see. It's been like my E3 prediction every year for the past like 2-3 years.
Yeah,
I think they're finally going to make. I don't know if it'll be a single player or if it'll be an MMO, kind of like Sea of Thieves. But I reckon they're going to make pretty much Assassin's Creed Black Flag without any of the Assassin's Creed bits, and it'll be brilliant because pirate games are sick and pirates are sick.
I'd love that because Black Flag was just getting on your ship, you know, sailing the seas, singing your shanties, and then pulling up to a port and going out, and it's fucking cool.
I still, on regular occasion, listen to the shanties. Just
they were ace.
Just so good. Fucking Lever, Johnny Lever, the oldest shit that ever did sail. Some fucking tunes, man.
Yeah, man, they were ace. So yeah, that'd be cool. But you know, I'll end the podcast with like a few E3, you know, wish lists because we've got some wish lists coming up on the site from some of our writers. What would you love? What would you love to see? Like, you know, a couple of things that would make your kind of E3.
I've honestly not thought about it that much because I've just been fucking too busy, and I've kind of been out of the looping games the last month or so. It's been got me down a little bit, but I'm trying to think. The pirate game obviously is a hope/want.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. Are we just going off like press conferences? Devolver Digital are doing their own, and that's the most intriguing press conference of all because Devolver Digital are sick.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think. A new Splinter Cell for that. It's a lot of Ubisoft stuff. A new Splinter Cell would be cool though because I never played the last one, but I kind of watched playthroughs of it back in my watching playthroughs stage of life, and it always looked really cool to me. That's how Assassin's Creed should be in the stealth kind of front.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, why don't you give yours while I think about
I've got one, and it harks back to my favourite game of all time, and it's so Shenmue is a game that I absolutely love. For the time that I played it, and I haven't played it since, so I'm kind of scared if they ever did do a HD remake, you know, where it'll come out and just be shit. This Shenmue 3, was it 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago that it was announced.
Yeah. So in 2015,
Yeah, and it was so weird the way that got announced that it was done via Kickstarter. And the original cost 100 million, a bit more, and they've made nowhere near that. And this is like on PS4. So how they're going to do it? We've not seen any trailers. We've not seen anything, and I'm worried. And I don't know if I want it or not. You know, back when 2 came out and the Dreamcast failed and the franchise kind of failed a bit, I was like, oh shit, I really wanted to know what happens because it does end on a cliffhanger. But ever since time's gone on, I've kind of grown to accept that it's never coming out, and then it got announced in a weird way. I did back the Kickstarter, but then I pulled out because I felt wrong about it. So I'm be interested to see if anything kind of comes up with that. Because I think if it doesn't, it's not coming out this year and they're going to disappoint a lot of people. Or it does come out and it just fails miserably and it just ruins it for everyone. So I'll be interested to see what they do there. I'm kind of keen to see whether there'd be a new Prince of Persia, but then that's the same every year.
Again, that's another
and
Ubisoft.
Well. Yeah, and they've got enough on the plate, so that'd be fine if they didn't. The other one would be interested to see whether there's going to be any kind of teaser or anything for Elder Scrolls 6. So whether there's life after Skyrim just yet, or whether they're focusing on something else, because I don't really know what Bethesda are going to do. Maybe a new Wolfenstein.
Tell
game.
you what I want from Bethesda: a fucking sequel to Rage, because Rage was sick.
Yeah,
I loved Rage.
Oh fucking hell, Rage! I forgot about that. That was ace.
In the fucking desert and wacko mad heads in some weird desert house, and then a city of some big fucking monster that you never see, but it's just stomping about. I don't think you ever see it. You might do. Oh, Rage! Man, I loved it back in the day. I'd love a new Rage, and for that's from Bethesda. I'd love beyond love a new Skate. Give it me E3, you cunt, and not E3, EA, you cunts. I want a new Skate game, because Skate is the best chill game ever. I've
got a feeling we might, because they re-released the free on backwards compatibility. I think that'll be an interesting way for EA to go. But speaking of EA, I want to see a new Fight Night, new boxing game. I think now is a perfect time for that to come out. What with Joshua and being one of the main players and whatnot, and kind of Brooke and Spence and all. There's just a lot of good fighters around at the moment. It'd be interesting to see, because the guy who made UFC, he was behind Fight Night, and it was for UFC. They created that procedurally generated knockout system where they don't just flop to the floor. They kind of go down, completely dependent on how you struck them. So that'd be ace to see in a boxing
I was going to say,
game.
like with UFC, they've basically got a boxing game there, and they've got loads more on top of it. I think you could quite easily trying to take your punching and blocking systems from that, spruce it up a bit for your boxing, trying to add a bit of depth to how you do your uppercuts and your fucking hooks and whatnot. Yeah, and add it into a good boxing game, which I think get the guy to do the voice and whatnot, and it'd be pretty fucking good looking at UFC, because UFC 2, best fighting game ever. Yeah,
definitely. With that, mate, I think we'll end it there.
Sounds good.
Thanks for coming on, Dan. It's been good to speak to you after all this time. You can
hopefully
back
next
us.
week if I've got some new stuff to talk about, hopefully.
Yeah, damn right, mate. But you can follow us all on Twitter. I'm at FirstAvenger83. Dan's at Mabroski. Go on to our website, because there's some awesome previews on there at the moment. A couple from Ryan King, which are really good. One about Lego, one about Far Cry 5. There's a load of reviews are hitting at the moment, so go on there and check them out. Go to Patreon, back us. We are offering a lot of stuff at the moment. There's early podcasts, early features, the weekly kind of what we're playing, so you get to know a bit more about us and what we play, when we're not reviewing, or what we think of reviews which may not go in the review. So there's a lot of kind of behind the scenes stuff. You can back us for as little as $1 a month, and it does mean a lot. And you hear me say this every week, but it really does. It does kind of help us, and it's nice to know we've got those people that really care about the site. That's patreon.com/GodisaGeek. And you can follow us on Twitter at GodisaGeek. Once again, Dan, thanks for joining me.
No worries at all.
Nice one, mate. And we'll see you all soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Hello again. Joining me for the second part of the GodisaGeek podcast is Mr. Gary Bailey. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. It's been a while.
It has, mate. It's good to have you back on.
Thank you.
And we've got Miss Nicola Ardron. How are you, darling?
I'm very well. Yeah. I'm very well, sweetheart.
Gone back to that one. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, thanks.
Awesome. So we've got lots of games to talk about today. Where shall we start? Let's go for some racing games, because Gary is here, and in honour of Gary being on, we shall talk about Dirt 4 first, I think. So, how is it, mate?
Is that a suggestion at Gary's hygiene there? I'm a bit confused.
Oh.
Bit harsh, Chris. He's not been on for a bit.
Shut down. I know, I'm sorry. Sorry, I probably should have started with something else. God, sir.
Anyway, Dirt 4 is very good. I'm really impressed with it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've flogged it completely
Awesome.
this past few days.
So what is it that's so special about it?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a bit of everything. I mean, the handling's really good. I mean, one of the best things is it's got 2 handling modes, so essentially anyone can play it. You've got a simulation for if you want, just like Dirt Rally was, or you've got gamer handling for if you just want to play, well, anyone just wants to play. And either of those you can have all the assists on or off as well, so you'd never quite... it's always still a simulation. But yeah, it's so fun to play. And it reminds me of like the old Colin McRae games, which I loved. Yeah, just great.
Because I've got it. I haven't put loads of time into it, but it's very like. Is it pretty straightforward? Does it take a while to kind of get used to, or am I just shit? because like there are when we did the WipEout chat, we'll talk about WipEout in a bit. But arcade races, there's something about arcade races I just get.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like actual skill and knowing how to drive a car, like I kept crashing. I just don't know. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know whether there's modes that can change that or what. But is it quite accessible for like new people to kind of rally games?
It is, yeah. I mean, one of the best things is it's got like the tutorials. So if you do them, you sit through them. It does take a little while, but it will get you used to how to drive basically the rally cars. And it's well worth looking at the assists and stuff like that. So if you're really struggling with getting your braking right and things like that, there are things that'll help you. But yeah, I mean, the tutorials are the main thing. But once you get through them, you'll start to get a feel for how it plays, and then it's just a case of just keep playing, and you'll eventually pick it up just through sort of repetition more than anything else.
Yeah. What's is there like there's a campaign, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
Sorts. How vast is that, or is it quite kind of linear, straightforward, kind of streamlined? Career mode.
Weirdly, a bit of both. 'Cause, I mean, you can sort of do championships wherever you want, but you'll start off just sort of driving for other teams because you've not got any money. But once you build up enough money, you then make your own team, which means that you'll get all of the profits basically, rather than paying out half your money to another team. But then it's a case of buying your cars and having the right cars for the right events and things like that. So you'll find yourself still driving for other teams at certain times. Just it helps keep things flowing. So if you really don't want to do much of your own team stuff, you can just keep driving for others all the time, and that way you can experience all of the championships, without sort of waiting and managing your team like in Football Manager. But no, it's great, and it'll keep you going for ages. I mean, it's a massive campaign, because you go right from the bottom all the way to the top. So you're in like the slowest cars from the start, and then going right up to like the fastest ones by the time you're finishing. Yeah.
So you'd recommend it then?
I mean,
is it one of the racing games you're looking forward to?
Yes. I'll be honest, I am a bit of a fan of Codemasters racing games. I mean, one of my favourites is like the Grid series. The rally ones I've not always been as keen on, just because rally's not my thing. But playing them is usually fun anyway. So if I can get in on it and enjoy it, then I will do. Yeah, and I've certainly enjoyed this one.
What is it about racing games then? Because it's I used to play them years and years ago when there wasn't really an awful lot of choice in games, and now I can't. They don't fill me with any sense of excitement, particularly like a sim where you're just racing around a course over and over until you get better at it. I just don't see the appeal. Is it the skill? Is it the learning curve that draws you in on them? Or what is it that you find fascinating with them?
For me, it's just I like motorsport in general.
Right, okay, so that you've got an outside interest.
Yeah, but
okay.
I mean, there is something oddly therapeutic about it for me for stuff like playing stuff like Forza and Gran Turismo. 'Cause, like, I'll know some of the tracks anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's a bit of, I suppose it's a bit of that high score mentality as well, because it's like trying to get a faster time and things like that. But I don't know. I think it's kind of like for example, like you'd love playing stuff like Titanfall.
Yeah,
it's the same feeling for me. I don't have an outside
interest in guns though.
Well, but it's the same, like the feeling you'd get from winning a match on that. It's the same kind of thing for me winning a race, because you still you're not battling with guns, obviously, but you are still fighting to get like round that corner before everyone else, or past the guy in front, that kind of thing.
See, I always panic when I play them, because I'll have a couple of goes and I'll think, okay, yeah, I could probably win this one. And then I'll, like, you know, maybe on the last lap with maybe like 2/3 of the course still to go, I'll push out into the lead and I'll think, yeah, I'm going to get it. And then I always, without fail, have a mega crash and like end up last. And it's like, how did... Am I just losing my nerve? Or as Chris says, am I just shit?
I don't know how to answer that one, because I don't know. Maybe you are just shit.
Losing my nerve. I'm really excited.
But you could just be like, I don't know, maybe it is just panicking and getting ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
There's a friend of mine that we used to play online with. We used to call him Terminal Damage, because every race without fail he would just bin it. And
that's me.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
I lose my bottle.
Well, racing games, I mean, we've got a few racing games to talk about. So I just want to kind of talk about a more arcadey one, and that's WipEout, the Omega Collection, which is out now. And it takes the last two games from the series that were released and has remastered them, given them like 1080p resolution, 60 frames per second. It's got HDR support for the PS Pro, and that's great. You know, for me, that's my favourite kind of racing game. Your Mario Karts, Wipeouts, the arcade races, and it's chaotic. It's so nuts, both in the tracks themselves, the speed, the combat. There's so many different modes to kind of try and play through. There's campaigns where you can, you know, go through different events, and they get harder and tougher as you go through. But it's just great to have it on the PS4, because I've missed playing them, and it really holds up. You know, with other kind of races, that it's not just in looks, but in terms of kind of like control of your ship, and it's the closest thing to pod racer we're going to get without playing that game. That shitty pod. Well, it wasn't shit, but a lot. You know. Anyway, it's certainly worth playing. You know, if you've missed a series, or you want something that's, you know, more arcadey based on Sims. So yeah, definitely give that a go. But it's awesome.
I've never played WipEout. I think it's one of them ones that I missed. Like way back. And I always fancied it because it looked a bit bonkers.
It is, yeah. And it's still accessible. You know, you could. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it is tricky, and you forget how kind of difficult it is when you go back into it, because the opponents, regardless of what skill class you're playing on, are hard, even on the novice. You know, because you have to kind of try out the different modes for review. You're checking out novice, and you can still struggle. It's all about skill more so than like what kind of weapon you can get, because obviously in single races you have speed boosts, but you also have weapons, and you can get like cannons, rockets, grenades, mines to throw behind you. It's very similar to kind of like Mario Kart in terms of the weaponry, but it's not like down to luck. I mean, Mario Kart, you can you can be like the best racer, but if someone's got like a blue shell or a red shell and they nail you, then that's kind of game over right towards the end of the track. Whereas there's a lot more skill involved in the actual track because of the speed, and some of the corners are just really tight. So you are relying a lot more on your ability. So, I mean, it can be tough, but the different game modes just make it a million times better than, how you remember it. It's certainly worth giving it a go. And even if you've never played it, definitely go back and give it a go,
I've played
or try it out.
Similar type games. I think it's just not... I like them for a short period of time. They just don't seem to hold my interest for long. And it's a shame because, I mean, like, I look at, like, Forza Horizon that my son's got, and I think, oh, that looks great. It looks really good fun. But I just know that if I tried it, I'd probably play it for a couple of hours and go, yeah, it was okay. But I'm not driven to... driven, good one. I'm not driven to, to stick with them. So I think arcade races are probably more my bag because they're a bit more daft, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I have played. I kind of love arcade races, but sim ones not too much. But Forza Horizon 3 was something else. It was amazing when you're racing, but you can literally just drive around for hours and just, Australia is such a beautifully realised world that they've created that you could literally like just drive. It's like, playing any kind of open world. You just go and just see it for yourself in it.
I might put it in and do a photo series on it just for Gary.
Do you know what?
Just for Gary.
It's perfect. It's perfect for you. Because I know you love photo modes, but some of these...
Has it got a photo mode, or is it just...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sold.
Oh, it's got photo modes. All kinds of filters, Nick. All sorts of stuff.
I love a filter.
I know, yeah. You can muck around with it and whatnot. But, yes. Yeah, but, do it. But, yeah, WipEout Omega Collection. It's certainly worth giving it a go. But, we've talked a bit about racing games. I think there's something very special that happened recently. In the world of video games, it's an anniversary, a 1-year anniversary of probably one of the greatest first-person online shooters, if not the best. Overwatch has celebrated its 1-year anniversary, and Nick, you've been playing around in the anniversary event, I believe.
I have, yeah. Shaking my fist at loot boxes.
Any nice skins yet?
Yeah, I've got Lucio's
what you got?
Jazz type skin, and I've got May's Beekeeper skin.
Oh, wicked.
I've got my Ion Zarias, and I really would quite like a Diva skin, even though the Diva one, I do quite like it, but it's not the best one.
Have you seen Genji's?
Yeah. But I don't really play Genji. He looks like it looks like a Power Ranger.
It does look like a Power Ranger. That's kind of why I want it.
Yeah, I don't really play Genji though, so I'm not as keen. But yeah, it does look good. Looks really good.
What's Bastion's like? Because I'm a big Bastion.
I don't think Bastion's got one. He had one for the event before, which has just completely gone out of lead. But I don't think he's got one for this. Neither has Mercy, Zenyatta. Winston, don't think he's got one either. I'm just trying to think. There's
that's fine.
Hanzo's got one, which looks quite cool. But yeah, I think it's good. I mean, it's a good event. I always like the events. Gives lots of skins. It gets me back playing again. I'm trying to do my competitive placement matches. I've done 7. I've won 4, lost 3, and I lost 2 in a row, so I don't go back now in case I've got losing.
Oh, yeah. That's all right. Competitive's bloody tough.
Yeah, it is.
And
I was moaning about that the other day, because it seems like each new competitive season, my starting rank is lower than the season before, so I just to take from that I'm getting worse. I don't really know.
Are there any new modes? Because obviously the Uprising had that 4-player co-op, which was awesome, which is really good. But I don't know if is there anything yet.
Yeah, there's a mode with 3 against 3.
Right.
Single life mode. So once you're dead, you're dead.
Yeah.
I've played that a couple of times. That's on a new map that's part of the Eichenwald
Yes.
map, just a different section of that particular map. But I've not played that. The only real sort of arcadey mode that I play is Mystery Heroes. That's my favourite.
I love that.
And I always play that because if you get 9 wins, you get 3 loot boxes, don't you? So mercenary, playing that to get the 3 loot boxes. But I just really enjoy Mystery Heroes because, each time you die, you spawn as another one. So it just gives you a bit more chance to play with ones that you don't necessarily play with. Although if I do get Genji, I'm usually dead. I'm usually dead straight away. Like, oh, I was short-lived.
It's good for like opponents as well because they're not guaranteed to be their favourite as well, so it proper does mix it up a bit.
The funny thing is though, is you always seem to end up with like a team who've got like 3 or 4 tanks, and you're like a team of support heroes trying to hold out against a Chuffin Roadhog and 2 divas and a Winston or something. It's like So yeah, it's fun.
Have I seen this, or is there like rumours for a new hero?
Yes, I think there is, and of course the is it the PTR on PC? You can play the new map on there, that space map.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there is. There are some rumblings that there might be a new hero, but I don't think it'll be for a bit because obviously this event's on, and then the map's going to be released and.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming they're going to. I'm still trying to get to grips with the 3. Well, Anna I feel pretty strong with now, but Sombra and Orisa, I'm really struggling with. I initially was doing well with Orisa, but I've been playing her lately, and I just feel like she's paper thin. She's real for a tank. She just.
Yeah,
she goes down way too easy, and she's too slow. If somebody gets in behind you. Yeah. Like a Tracer, for example, she's too slow to turn around and you're dead before you know it. And it's a bit odd, really, for a tank. I find it a bit strange.
Yeah.
They need to maybe tweak her.
Yeah, it seems a bit silly. Gary, have you played much Overwatch? I'm just curious.
I'd played it a little while back, but I'm shit at it, basically. I've never been good at competitive shooters, but I did enjoy what I played of it.
Yeah, you tempted to come back?
Not really.
It's on sale.
It's one of those things that I love the art style and everything, and I love all like the backstory and all that lot. But the actual game, I'm just not good enough at.
The thing I like about it though is that if you feel like you're not that good, there's generally at least one hero that you do feel. Stronger with. That's what I found initially. I was like, oh, well, I feel quite good with this one, so this is my character. I think that was D.Va initially.
Yeah, I think the one I played as was D.Va more than most. But like you guys, I did enjoy the one where you can constantly swap in heroes. Cause I don't know, it kind of forced you to learn new heroes, and you're not against people constantly using their mains, so you're not getting beasted like every 30 seconds.
Yeah. Like I say though, like D.Va was my main initially, and actually D.Va isn't quite as easy to use as you might necessarily think she is, because I certainly find that I do better with her when I'm more aggressive with her. And when I first started playing, because she's a tank, I played her that she sat on the point, but I actually do better when I'm aggressive with her. Like I zoom right up to a Genji and boop him and stuff like that, and it just kind of doesn't give him breathing room. But over time, I've kind of moved into different heroes. Like Zarya's one of my mains, and most of the support characters, to be honest. I do very well with Zenyatta, and Lucio and Anna as well. So it's sort of evolved over time, which ones I sort of naturally gravitate towards. Although I have been doing some filthy trophy hunting. dirty trophy hunting, and I've been playing as Hanzo, and I finally got both of Hanzo's trophies, so I never have to touch him again. Because he's filth. He's absolute filth, is Hanzo. I mean, you don't even have to aim. It's grotesque.
Oh, I know.
Is that why everyone hates Hanzo? And I'm always seeing all this stuff about people hating Hanzo mains, and I'm just like, I don't understand it.
His ult's really powerful. That Spirit Dragons thing, it's really powerful. And oftentimes, you know, even if you know it's coming and you've like people can just fire it off into the map and you think, oh, well, I've missed it, you know, because I've just respawned, I've missed it. And it's like it zooms all the way through the map and it can like hit you just as you're coming out of spawn or whatever. It's like, oh, because you didn't expect it, you know, because you were nowhere near the action. So I think that's part of it. And plus, having played as Hanzo, and I'm not a sniper, I'm not a particularly accurate player at all, but it's so easy. His arrows are deadly. They are deadly.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, I've got a clip where I headshot 2 tracers coming into a point on Mystery Heroes, and they're zooming, and I just headshot both of them, and I'm like, oh, yes! Yes! But I think that's partly because he's got quite a bit of auto-aim on him. And of course, that I'm, you know, late at bow and arrows and stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
Smooth.
So, speaking of nice, colourful heroes, let's talk about some moody, depressing, grumpy ones. Injustice 2.
Yes.
The lovely, wonderful Injustice 2. Gary, I know you've been playing the shit out of it because I joined the guild the other day because I thought I ain't joining at like level 5 because, you know, everyone's going to be good and I'm going to look shit. So I've like caned it myself recently. I'm about 27 now. But looked at you, fucking 39, is it?
Something
or is
like
it
that.
35? Something stupid. I was well impressed.
Yeah, I think 35.
Yeah. So I mean, this kind of the Wonder Woman event. Talking about events in general, this is awesome, and I really like what they've done with this. And the whole multiverse is a great, you know, part of what makes Injustice 2 so much fun to play.
Yeah.
Is, you know, they'll like the Wonder Woman event, they released this multiverse event where you go through separate stages of difficulty where you'll fight, like one of the stages you'll fight kind of 5 villains, 5 characters, and then the next one you'll fight 10, then 12, and then this last fight, which in this Wonder Woman event, and the event itself is to get all the attire from the movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you could look like Gal Gadot's wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous,
steady,
powerful, amazing, wonderful, amazing character.
Yeah.
But you could get it all in game. So, and it looks amazing. You could get the shield, the tiara, you know, everything. But the last fight is ridiculous. I was playing it with my family, were watching it. In fact, my daughter, I have to give my props to my 7-year-old daughter. She helped me level up Wonder Woman. She was going into single fights for a bit, and kind of like just kind of getting the XP up a bit for me. So she's in love with it as well. But that fight against Cheetah, when I finally did it, they literally just cheered because they could see the pain I was going through to try and beat her and to get that final bit of the shield. But yeah, it's just so much fun, and I think the game as a whole, now I've played more, like I'm in love with it. I mean, Gary, I know you love it, so I mean, how are you finding it?
I'm loving it. It's made me sort of appreciate Wonder Woman as well. Like, I wasn't that good with her, but the more I've gone through that, I've learned a lot of her moves, so I can do a lot more with it. Although, having said that, Cheetah still battered me, even when I was at level 20 and fought against her. But I mean, it's so much fun, and just all the characters. Although I have discovered, I'm a little bit upset by it. I really like Poison Ivy. She's like one of my favourite characters. I cannot play as her. I can't. I'm just so bad at her because she's just, I don't know. She's not got that many moves that are that good. If I'm honest, I mean, I'm sure someone much better than me could easily do it.
Maybe.
But, I mean,
I think certain characters have just got, like, combo wise, she doesn't work. Like, I can't throw moves together as well as I can with other characters, and she just feels slow and sluggish. And I don't know if that's just me, but yeah, I completely see why you don't kind of get on with her.
Yeah, but the annoying thing is, if you play against her as the AI can string together so many combos and just batter the shit out of you. But I'm just like, I can struggle to get maybe like 5 or 6 hit combos with her.
Yeah.
But I think you get that with every fighting game anyway. It's just a shame it's one of my favourite characters that I can't play as.
So who are you maining as? Like, who are your top 3 characters, Gary? Who are they?
Harley Quinn, number 1, obviously, because Harley. Second now will be Wonder Woman.
That's good. That's impressive, because I would never have put her in my top 3, but I think she sits there now.
Yeah, I mean, other ones in the top 3, I mean, possibly, I don't know, maybe Batman or Superman, because even though it's kind of like obvious to pick one of them, they are actually very good.
See, I can't get on with Batman. I can't get on with him.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I just can't. I'm better with other people than I'm Batman. But something about Batman I just can't work out. Like, I don't know. It's weird, because I mean, mine probably. I love Green Arrow. I love playing as Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know, Chris? I know before the podcast I was saying that I haven't really played Injustice, so I was kind of a bit out of this conversation, which is why I'm forcing my way into it now. And I was playing yesterday, and a friend of mine, my gaming husband, he's got it, and we did that share play thing, and I was watching him try and fight Cheetah with Wonder Woman, and then he showed me a bit of the story, and there was a bit in the story, and he was with Superman and Batman, and they were on, is it Brainiac's ship?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah,
and he was saying, "Oh God, I hope I don't have to fight as Batman, because I'm just no good with Batman. I much prefer Green Arrow." And I'm thinking to myself, that's exactly what you're saying. What is it about Batman?
I don't know. I mean, for me, his moves don't flow as well. I'm not a massive fan of his gadgets. They're not very impressive to me. They're very precise. You need to kind of be in the right place at the right time to use them. And they just don't seem effective to me. Plus, his special ability is a bit shit.
Oh, where you launch him up in a ship?
Yeah.
I thought that looked cool.
Oh, it does. But when you see like Aquaman's is just nuts, or the Flash's is just fucking crazy, atrocitus. There's so many amazing special powers that I think his just kind of
Supergirl's is good as well.
Supergirl's is amazing, yeah. But I don't know. Green Arrow's fast. I like his moves. You know, he works really well for me. I think Wonder Woman's probably in the top 3 now. But I love Swamp Thing as well. Swamp Thing's like, I'm not normally good with big, sluggish fighters, but I love Swamp Thing.
I've not really played much with him, so I'll have to give him a bit more of a look.
Yeah, I'm tempted to level him now, cap him at 20. I think he might be the next one I go for. But it's just awesome. And now I've played a lot of it. You're starting to see, recognise things that frustrate you. Where, like Scarecrow, he was one of the final bosses in the multiverse event, and his claw is just annoying. And it's like facing E Honda in Street Fighter or Chun-Li, where they just spam and kick you to shit, and you can't get out of it. And if you're stuck in a corner, that's it. His claw keeps, he'll just slap it at you like 5 times in a row. You can't move. You fall to the floor. You get up. He does it again. It's so annoying. But one thing I do like about Injustice is if you do get stuck in the corner, you can use R1, can't you, for like the environment, and certain environments you can, like in the corner of the Batcave, and I think in the Asylum there's like a panel where you just rip it off the wall and you can smack him over the head. And there's some really cool like environmental bits in it, isn't there? Like obviously. There's certain points in a map where you can break through into another segment of it. So, like in the Asylum, you'll be on a ward, and then you'll go into like the grounds outside, and it's just so big. Every fight just feels like epic, and it's just so smart. And yeah, I'm in love with it. Yeah. I just think it's one of the best fighting games we've seen in a while, and it could be potentially one of the best fighting games of the year.
Yeah, I struggle to see anything beating it this year myself. But having said that, I've not played Tekken yet. I don't know if that compares. But I'm probably always going to be a little bit biased because I'm a DC fan. So
yeah,
you give me the ability to fight as like Harley Quinn, Wonder Woman, Batman, and basically the massive list of characters they've got, and I'm happy.
Yeah. I mean, we could go on about what characters we'd like to see and stuff, but a bit unfair.
Yeah, Nicola just sat there, just not knowing what's going on.
I know. I mean, like I say, when I did look at the share play thing, I mean, I even had a little go at trying to be Wonder Woman, with woeful results. But I know everybody said that it looks amazing, and the facial animations look amazing, and my friend was talking about the story mode being really, really good as well. But I was looking at it going, I actually genuinely couldn't believe the facial animations. I was like, this is a fighting game, it has no right to be looking this good, and it did look great. And I did kind of have a little bit of a pang going, a bit like racing games, like, I wish I liked this, because everybody's playing it and everybody's talking about it. But again, I just know that I'd get too frustrated. Yeah. It's just not my bag. I'm rubbish at them. Yeah. They're one of my Achilles heels. I'm terrible. Terrible.
You never know.
Now you know how I feel about Overwatch. Same thing. Yeah. I really want to love it, but I'm shit at it, so it's difficult.
Well, I mean, whilst we're on the subject of fighting games, I'll talk. Sorry, Nick, but I need to talk about Tekken.
See, I used to play Tekken.
Well, what
is Yoshimitsu still in it? And Heihachi?
Yeah, Heihachi, yeah. Heihachi Mishima.
How is he not dead yet?
I know. Ridiculous.
I'll tell you what, like, it's ridiculous. The story is stupid. It's crazy. There's a point where he's kicking fucking missiles out of the sky. But it's superb. Like, it's just so much fun. It's not taking itself seriously. The story mode is nowhere near as long as Injustice 2, but it kind of it's just batshit crazy, and it kind of incorporates all the characters on the roster, almost all of them, like all the kind of main ones. So, like Kazuma, and again, like Heihachi's in it.
Is that funny bear thing and the Woodman?
Yeah, the bear's in it. Kuma.
It's been a while.
Panda's in it.
It's been a while since I've played.
King's in it. King, the cheetah man thing.
Yeah.
And Jack 4, the robot cyborg beast thing, whatever that is.
Okay.
But yeah, it's amazing, and I think it's so much easier to kind of mash buttons in Tekken 7 than it is in Injustice 2. Is very kind of specific combos, and you can't just hit square or triangle and expect to win.
Right.
Whereas Tekken 7, there is a lot more kind of. You can kind of get on board quite easily, but if you're playing someone that's skilled, that knows what they're doing, then those combos are going to rip you apart. And there's over 100 different moves for each character, and there's no real tutorial, which I find slightly annoying, because if you've gone back to it after all this time, and I suppose if you are playing all these other fighting games out there like Injustice 2, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, it is quite easy to kind of find a rhythm and kind of find the moves on your own, but there's a hell of a lot of moves that are there that you'll never kind of know unless you kind of spend a bit of time looking at the moves list. And there's there's certain characters which just don't work for me. Like Heihachi's one, he's quite strong, but again, his combos aren't the best. But there's some cool things in it, like rage arts, which are you press R1 when you've got enough kind of power, and it'll destroy your opposition with kind of like your special moves in Injustice or whatnot.
Right.
And Akuma from Street Fighter's in it, which is also amazing. And the way he's incorporated into the story is really cool. So there's certainly lots of good things about Tekken 7, and it is one of the best games, the best fighting games out there. But for me, Injustice 2 pips it to the post. But it's cool, and there's loads of like old school kind of elements to it. Like there's the arcade mode, which is just you going through fighter after fighter after fighter with the tiniest of story threads in there. And then there's also the kind of gallery mode and the soundtracks, you can basically go back through all the old Tekkens and watch the cinematics, and listen to all the music. Some of it does cost a bit of money. Well, in-game currency, sorry, but
right.
there's
how do you earn the in-game currency? By winning fights.
By winning, yeah. You can get bonus, like when you finish the main story, you get I think it's like it might be 3 million, which is quite cool because there's a hell of a lot of kind of customization into how you look and what you wear. You wear some weird stuff, like you can wear frog hats. So seeing like Akuma in a frog hat is weird, but you've got different T-shirts and all sorts of stuff. And there's like a deal between Tekken and New Japanese Pro Wrestling. So there's like, if you're like that kind of wrestling fan, there's stuff in there for you. So it's cool.
Is Eddie Vedder still? Not Eddie Vedder. He was Pearl Jam. What's his name? Eddie Gordo. Eddie Gordo.
Yeah, Eddie's there. They're all the kind of the best fighters are in there, and it is cool to see him again.
Yeah.
And the last fight in the story mode is just incredible. Like as far as like epic showdowns go, it's just amazing. So it's worth just getting through for that. But like there's a weird narration to the story where you've got like the cutscenes where you'll see them all talking and stuff, and in Japanese, and then there's this news reporter who's the kind of thread of the story. And he's trying to find out what happened or what's happening to the Heihachi family, why he did what he did all those years ago. When he threw his son off a mountain, and he's like got this weird like American detective voice, like the old 1940s detective voice, where it's just really weird, and it's just that's what I mean. It's silly, but it works because it's Tekken, and it's just if the fights weren't so ridiculously fun and it didn't take itself seriously, then it would be weird. But because it doesn't, it's just a really good fun fighting game, and you can get a lot out of it if you want that fighting game, which it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's quite straightforward to get hold of. But I would suggest giving Tekken 7 a go, but obviously Injustice first because that's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think Tekken's got a bit of an uphill battle then? Because normally Tekken is the bigger name in fighting games here, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not wrong in saying that.
No, I definitely. I think there are people out there who look to fighting games for the kind of the esports element of it, the competitive edge, and there are some phenomenal Tekken fighters, and I think Tekken is for the more kind of hardcore fighters,
right?
And that's not saying Injustice 2 isn't, but because of the properties it's got and the DC kind of canon and the history behind each of it, we know those characters more, and that's why I think the story in Injustice 2 is more kind of thought out, and there's a lot more to it, and they're trying to kind of please all these DC fans by incorporating the best of the comics. Whereas Tekken 7,
NetherRealm, I think they were the first to do the proper story with Mortal Kombat 9.
Yes,
and since then I think like every fighter's essentially copied that.
Right.
Yeah.
It just works a bit better than just having the arcade modes like you used to have. Mm-hmm. You actually have like a full story that you go through, and it just sort of gives you control of different characters for each chapter.
And
it works really well, and I'm kind of glad other fighters have started using it as well.
Also, I guess superheroes are in vogue at the moment, aren't they? So maybe that is perhaps edging the way, or do you just genuinely think Injustice is a more superior game?
I think I enjoy Injustice 2 more because of the DC superheroes involved. I think if it was Injustice 2 with fighters that I didn't really know or stories that I didn't really know, it would be a completely different game for me. But I think because as you say, comics are kind of over the last 10 years of it's turned kind of geeks into the norm, if you know what I mean, where they used to be hiding behind a comic book, like not talking to anyone and reading the comics and keeping to themselves. It's kind of become quite a acceptable thing now to like comic books and to like these characters. And with shows like Green Arrow, Arrow and Supergirl and The Flash, that's helped DC quite a lot. And obviously the Dark Knight trilogy and so forth. They're kind of in the mainstream, and I think it's the perfect time for it to come out, because with all these shows, it's going to incorporate the skins, I think, like it did with the first one. I think we'll get Arrow skins for this one from the show, like Stephen Amell's, attire. Hopefully Supergirl's attire from the show, because that's really cool, and that looks completely different to how it does in the game. But there's so much kind of longevity to what NetherRealm could do with this, not just in terms of skins, but obviously there's going to be 9 DLC characters. We've already announced 3 of them. Well, we haven't. I haven't. They've already announced 3 of them. But it's like the speculation of, who else could they have? It's just good for DC fans right now. And whereas it may not be, an RPG, I think they've nailed it. I think this is the best DC game out there, bar the kind of Arkham games.
I think it helps that it's got like the Overwatch style thing as well, because you get loot boxes, which get you like new pieces of armor and stuff like that. So that with the multiverse will keep it going a long time, and I'm sure they'll have like events that will give you new skins and that. Which I assume they'll have a Justice League event for when the film comes out at the end of the year.
I want that Aquaman stuff. I want to look like Jason Momoa.
Does the armor give you buffs, or is it purely cosmetic?
No, it gives you different abilities.
Right.
And it
so
depends on what level
you are.
balance,
then, if you're playing online?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, yet. I mean, I've only seen it used in the multiverse, whereas it's like your level. So you like if you play as, say you are Wonder Woman and you're at level 10, and you're trying to fight that cheetah boss at level 20, she's gonna kick the shit out of you. She's gonna have like higher health, more damage, that kind of thing. But as you level up, you can level up your gear separately as well to make that stronger. It then levels the playing field. So I assume playing online, I mean, I've only played against a friend so far, so I don't know what it's like, but I'd assume it matches you against similar level players. So
I think certain kind of armor and that, like there's certain armor that will help you against Kryptonians. So by kind of using certain attire, it will help you fight Superman or Supergirl, because they've got like a weakness to it. Right. So it's quite smart that way, where if you've got like more so kind of in the single player, like the multiverse events, whereas if you've got Superman's coming up, you can change your gauntlets or your chest plates to be more powerful against kind of Kryptonians. So it's that kind of stuff. And there's also armor and that will give you extra XP if you wear it, which is pretty cool. So yeah, there's a lot to it, and that's why I'm still learning now with how it all works. And I haven't been online in any capacity yet, because I want to make sure I'm good enough before I go online. And I'm excited to go there, but I'm waiting a bit, because I'm an anxious gamer anyway online. So fighting games are just an idea of hell to me, because they're so frantic when you're fighting, and I'm holding off. But there's a hell of a lot to them. So it's Injustice. I was trying to talk about Tekken, and we went back to that. It's just so good. But let's step over the fighting genre and into familiar territory, because Titanfall 2, there's a new Titan Monarch. So Nick, I mean, is this out now?
I'm still beating this dead horse with Titanfall 2. There's a new Titan that's been released called Monarch, and
yes,
I quite like him. He's quite good.
So what's different?
He's a lot more tactical than than some of the others. He's got 3 tiers of Titan core, I've only actually managed to keep him alive long enough to get 2 of those. And I've only had a couple of games with him, to be fair, so I'm still kind of learning him. But it was just really cool to kind of go back to it and have something new to play with. They've also released a remastered version of one of Titanfall's maps, and I can't remember what it's called. But that was good to see, as that was one of my favourite maps from the first game. Although I played Bounty Hunt on it, and the map is huge, and it doesn't really lend itself very well to Bounty Hunt, because after the end of each round, trying to find the bank was really difficult, because I didn't know where it was. So I was just like running around going, I don't know how to get to that part of the map. Where is it? Where's the bloody bank? So yeah, but that's, again, I guess that's just a learning curve, trying to figure out where the banks are located, because Bounty Hunt's one of my fave modes. But yeah, I mean, I'm still dipping in and out of Titanfall. I've not been playing it quite as much as I had in the past, purely because I've been distracted with other stuff, Overwatch events. I've recently bought Rainbow Six Siege as well, so I've been playing that. And a couple of single player games. So I'm not playing Titanfall 2 as often as I was before, but certainly having new content makes me go back. There's a new gun as well. There's a new gun which was in the update previous to this one. So yeah, they're still shipping out new content, and people are still not playing it, and I just feel really bad for them, because it's a great game.
It is ridiculous. Like, I know we do talk about it a bit, but it's because it is a fucking great shooter. Like, it's one of the best of last year by far. Titanfall, Battlefield for me were the two kind of best shooters. Well, bar Overwatch, obviously. But
Overwatch Overwatch is different for me. It's a different type of shooter.
Yes.
And you could say that the Battlefield is as well, but I've completely forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, I kind of know what you mean. I'd put sort of Titanfall more in line with Call of Duty, to be honest.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's just... It still really upsets me that nobody plays it, because it's great. And by all accounts, I've not actually played much Call of Duty this year, which is unusual, because that is my normal go-to shooter. For when I'm playing with one pal in particular. Yeah. And we've just not been playing it this year. We just really didn't get on with the online, with Infinite Warfare. And I think because it's trying to ape what Titanfall does, and Titanfall does it so much better. It feels sluggish and slow going to play that type of high movement shooter. In Call of Duty, it doesn't feel as responsive. So we always go back to Titanfall 2, even though the population is diminishing, and it's a shame. It's a real shame. I don't think Titanfall 3 will be made, which upsets me.
At least not by EA. Or under EA.
Well, published by EA, yeah. Silly fools! The fools!
Such a good developer. It's a shame for them, because they made one of the best. They made the best Call of Duty game, in my opinion, and I think, I'd love to see something. I want to kind of move on to E3 now, and I want to talk about what we want to see and stuff. But it would be nice to see something with Titanfall at EA, not a new game, just some. I don't know, just something to remind people why Titanfall 2 is so good, whether it's a special edition or a brand new, something big, and I don't know, just...
I don't know. I think that ship sailed, really. It's had such disappointing sales. And even... even with the word of mouth and people going, oh, I've bought Titanfall, and oh goodness, it is good, isn't it? It's just... I don't know, it just hasn't seemed to manage to hold on to the population, even though people who've played it say that it's brilliant. It's just, I don't really get it. But anywho.
I know. But, we don't want to end on disappointment. We want to end on our hopes and dreams.
Yes.
Free at least. Yes. So, I mean, every year there's always a rumour mill around this time. There's always kind of leaks, fingers in the air, quote marks, leaks. But this week we're running a kind of series of features that, every morning. Mr. Nick Gillam's done one. David Hunter and Gary, you've done one as well, about what you want to see at E3. So let's talk E3. What do you want to see, Gary? What are the three kind of your main, hopes for the event?
The main one I think would probably be Dragon Age. I loved Inquisition, and after the Trespasser DLC, which I won't spoil anything for anyone, it basically led into what will be Dragon Age 4. So I need to see what happens, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool they were so bold to make that kind of statement. We want to carry the series on. This is what we want to do. Here's a cliffhanger.
Yeah. I mean, and
so they've clearly got it in mind to do.
Yeah. It's a shame.
Do you think BioWare suffered through the sales of Mass Effect? Do you think they'll be all right to make this?
I hope so. Because as far as I'm aware, it's a different team that makes the Dragon Age games.
Yeah.
And hopefully, sort of like BioWare's stock hasn't decreased because of Mass Effect. I mean, I still need to play more of Andromeda because I've barely touched it. But yeah, I mean, it seems a bit of a shame. Everyone was sort of getting excited for Mass Effect, and then, like, I don't know, about a week or so before it came out, something happened to sort of make everyone suddenly turn against it, decide they didn't want to play it anymore. And
it was cool to do so. It was cool to laugh at the facial animations. It was cool to share gifs of the faces going funny without actually waiting to play the game and experience hours on hours of it, rather than taking the piss out of it. And I think that really, I don't want to kind of go off on a tangent, but Nick, I think you kind of agree to a point, because you love Mass Effect Andromeda, is the fact that no one gave it a chance. That it was dead before it came out, because they were going, all this money's been spent on it, all this time, and look at it, look at how the faces look at how this looks, look at how this performs, and it's just like, just play the game. I didn't really experience any bugs on my playthrough. There was a couple of freezes, I think 2 freezes where it froze for like 10 seconds and I thought my PS4 had gone. But other than that, like, I had no real technical issues. I didn't even notice the facial animations, bar that woman on the Nexus.
Addison, who was,
that was pretty bad. But like we've said about Mass Effect, that first game was really dodgy in parts, and we've seen 2 games come out from that that made it one of the best trilogies to exist. So people just didn't give it time. It was doomed to fail before it kind of came out, and that's kind of why I'm worried about a Dragon Age. And yeah, I know it's a different team, but BioWare have got a black mark against them now because of this, and I feel it'd be a shame not to see other games by them, and even a sequel to Mass Effect, not come to fruition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dragon Age for me, I mean, I even loved 2, which like people hated. But yeah, Inquisition was brilliant. I'd really like to see what comes of that story, however they do it.
Yeah. Well, one of your others, which this would be, I can just imagine the kind of response to it now, is if it much in the same vein as Resi 7 when that got announced. But I think this would be on a completely different scale with a history and a whatnot of what happened at Konami. You want another Silent Hill?
I do.
Yeah,
I really do. I mean, Silent Hill 2 is still one of, if not my favourite game of all time. I don't think, as much as I love Resi 7, just nothing comes close to Silent Hill 2 for sheer horror, and I love like the psychological side of it. It wasn't just bangs and jump scares kind of thing. It was
very smart.
Yeah, you were always on edge, no matter where you were. I didn't quite love Silent Hills or PT, whatever, as much as everyone else seemed to. I did think it was a little bit boring. But as a teaser, I think it did show off some great potential. It's a shame that Silent Hills did die out, basically, and all the fallout from Kojima and Konami as everything kind of blew up. But hopefully something will happen. I don't know whether they'll get some of the old teams back or anything like that, but I'd just love to see Silent Hill make a return.
Would it be Silent Hill though without Kojima?
Well, yeah, the rest were. That was the first one Kojima had ever been involved with. So it's like Silent Hill 2, going back to it, I mean, that was Team Silent. I mean, I think their last game was 3. I don't think they worked on 4. And they were all like brilliantly written and directed and everything. So I think if you get the right people, you know, it can really work. Obviously it would have been nice to see what Kojima could have done with it, but I suspect like Death Stranding will probably have some elements of Silent Hills in there.
Do you think we'll see more of that at E3?
I fucking hope so. Because I'm fully on board for this. Like, Kojima, you know, people have their opinions on him, but you can't deny he is one of the best developers out there. Him and his team have made some phenomenal video games, and like, just my favourite game of all time, possibly Metal Gear Solid, the original, just because the ideas it kind of implemented, the story it had, the world it created, and it was so smart. And I think to see a game like Death Stranding come out now with the current climate of the world, you know, Kojima's always kind of been one to reflect on society at that time.
Yeah,
there's a lot of good that could come of Death Stranding, and with the cast that are involved, the ideas behind it.
Named.
Yes.
Who was it? Who was in it? Who was in Death Stranding?
There's some chump called Mads. I don't know. But no, like, oh my god, that teaser trailer that we saw with Del Toro in it was a really nice touch, and you know, there's a lot of ideas of what it could be about, and I'm really hyped for it. So I'd like to think there would be something. I think it's still 2 years off, you know, but
yeah,
they could potentially, like, Sony could nail it with like some Death Stranding gameplay. But you know, we'll see. That's kind of one of my hopes. So that's that out of the way. But Below as well, Gary.
Yeah,
you know, you're talking about that game.
I need that game.
That would be nice to see. But you know, with Xbox, what else are they going to show? They're going to have to, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, I know it won't happen, but I'd love it for him to just be one of those Below is available now kind of things.
Yeah, might drop.
I mean, it's been years since that game was announced, and every year they've kind of shown bits, and then obviously they then delayed it sort of indefinitely, just said we're going to get our heads down and finish it.
Yeah,
I think maybe now is the time, and like I say, Xbox needs something. And the idea Xbox program is just sort of woefully undersold. You know, you see stuff like Astroneer came out of it, and nobody talked about it except like the odd few that played it and enjoyed it. And it was one of those games which could have done really well, especially in the wake of the disappointment that everyone had for No Man's Sky. And it was it's quite a similar thing.
Oh, and yeah, I played that. I lost hours to it, just walking from my kind of space station just across the map to try and gather some more, you know, minerals and stuff. But yeah, the idea Xbox program, I think you're right. It is kind of criminally undersold, because there's some great games coming out of it that have been out of it and are going to come out of it. I mean, recently the Sexy Brutal was part of it.
Yeah.
You know, there's loads, and then the event I went to, they mentioned Cuphead.
Yeah.
They said it was still coming out, and they were quite clear that it was coming out. It hadn't been delayed or anything. But again, that's how many years ago was that announced, and how long have we been waiting to see more of that? So I think if we don't see Cuphead at Xbox, or below, Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2, then I don't know what is going to sell that console.
Yeah,
and it is a shame. And you wrote something very interesting on it the other day, which I suggest people check out about Xbox. And it'd be a real shame to see this this go south for them, because I really don't see at this point what they could possibly do. The Scorpio, great.
Surely
but
they're going to
what
show
about us
Crackdown.
people that? Well,
I think
they have to.
Yeah, I think they've said that Crackdown's going to be there. I think State of Decay 2 will probably be there, hopefully with a release date for this year.
Mm-hmm.
That could potentially be.
But they do need
fantastic.
new IP.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got Sea of Thieves, obviously, and like I said, the ID Xbox stuff would be great if they push that more. But yeah, they just need new stuff. Like, yes, I want my Forza 7. I'm always going to want more Forza. But yeah, they just need something a little bit outside the box, outside the Xbox.
I don't want them. I don't want them becoming Nintendo, and I mean that in a nice way. But for me, like Nintendo, they do make good games. There's no denying that. But they have Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Kirby. They're very kind of, here's a new Mario game, here's a new Zelda game. It's like, yeah, brilliant, but have other things. And I think Xbox, they've got Gears of War, which, yeah, Gears of War's great and Halo's great, but you can't rely on these small franchises. You're right, they do need a new IP, and I'd love to see, a very kind of renowned developer or a development team come out with a brand new game that people weren't expecting for them to really kind of nail it. And I don't know who that will be, but they need to do something special, and they need to bring something brand new.
They need a Horizon Zero Dawn type game.
They do, 100%.
Or a blooming, I don't know, The Last of Us type thing to really show it off.
Sony have got so much lined up. They could have a good conference.
Yeah.
They've got God of War. Death Stranding.
But Days Gone.
It's just Days Gone. Yeah,
it looks a bit.
Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Days Gone looked all right. Like the one thing that fucked me off with that was how, I know it's just a gameplay demo. It's very early on, but the amount of zombies that were coming at that guy, and he didn't get caught once, and there were like literally hundreds, and he managed to pick them all off without a problem. Like that's not surely that. Doesn't give you the element of survival. That's just like you felt very invincible, like to all those people. So I'm hoping that was just to kind of show off the world and the kind of ideas behind it. But yeah, Microsoft, don't know what they're going to do. Don't know where they're going to go, and it's a shame, really.
I think it kind of makes it a little bit more exciting, though, because you never know what they'll come up with. To be fair, I suppose that goes for all of them, but this year, I don't think anyone's expecting Microsoft to do anything. They've got Scorpio, and that's kind of it. But they could then turn it around, show off stuff like
I hope so.
Like Sony have done, or even Ubisoft for that matter, with some of the stuff they've shown out of nowhere. I mean, I think everyone remembers like Watch Dogs when that was first shown. I mean, it was disappointing in the end and all that, but when that was first shown out of nowhere, nobody knew what it was. Yeah. Everyone was excited. So
definitely.
If anyone does that this year, that'd be great. But Microsoft really need it.
Yeah, they do. I think this could be the last sort of straw, really, for Microsoft. And I'm a bit of an Xbox apologist as it is. But if they don't show something really interesting, and it's not, if they just rely on showing the tech and the potential of Scorpio, I think that's not going to be enough. They need to be showing games that make people want to go out and buy an Xbox, and I worry that they just don't have anything. Well, I mean, I'm hoping that we're all going to be surprised and going, wow, that looks amazing, but going on the last few years at E3, I think that if they don't show something that looks amazing, then I think Microsoft might be done this generation.
Yeah, they're going to struggle if they don't.
That's a pretty sad way to end the podcast. I don't want to end it there. I want something. What are you looking forward to, Nick? Is there anything you can kind of think of?
No, not really. I mean, I'm quite mad keen on State of Decay 2, so really enjoyed that. Keen to see a bit more on Death Stranding, just because I didn't really get what it was first time round.
Yeah, Mad Nicholson Simulator.
Yeah, I didn't really get it. I don't know. I just kind of want to sit back and see what comes out of it, to be honest. There's nothing that I'd like to see a bit more of Sea of Thieves, but I'm starting to feel quite anxious about that game now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be out in February, and we're now in June. I'm pretty sure at last E3 it said come in February. But no, anyway, that's something I can look up separately. But I don't know. I really, really want to see something exciting from Microsoft, and not another Gears and not another Halo. As you say, they're great, and you know, I've maybe got room to have another one of those. But I really, really, really want to see something new, and that's my biggest hope for E3. Everything else is just a bit of a bonus, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, let us know what you think. Visit our website, go on Twitter, come and chat with us. I'm at First Avenger 83. Gary is at Blue Fury 47. Nicola is at Wavy_Gravy or with an E. You can go on to GodisaGeek.com, read all our reviews. You can also support us via our Patreon. Give us as little as $1 a month goes a long way, and you get loads of cool features. You get to know more about the team and what they're playing on a weekly basis, early podcasts, that kind of thing. So if you go to patreon.com/GodisaGeek. I'd also just like to pimp before we leave this week's episode of I Heart Video Games, because we get to talk to Vicky Blake, who is a very talented writer with IGN, MTV. She in fact talks about one of her favourite games. Is a game we've talked about briefly on this podcast, and in it how it kind of helped her through a really difficult point of life, and it's a really lovely podcast. You should definitely check it out. So guys, once again, thank you very much for joining me.
You're welcome.
And we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.